You are watching Cold Fusion TV.
Hi, and welcome to another Cold Fusion video. DeGogo here. The Microsoft Hololens has been causing a bit of a frenzy ever since its announcement. Some call it a revolution, and others call it the future of computing. Microsoft hopes that the holographic gadget becomes the next big computing platform, with applications ranging from video games, to design, to education, and architecture. A couple of weeks ago, Microsoft released some more details about the technology and allowed some press to get their hands on the device. This allows us to gain some extra insight. In this video, we'll break down exactly what the HoloLens is, where it came from, the reality of what it can actually do versus the hype, and the implications for the world. Let's get started. So the most fundamental thing to understand here is that the Microsoft HoloLens is a headset that belongs to a technology called augmented reality. In a video I made a few years ago, I covered augmented reality at length. The video is titled Augmented Reality is the Future, so you can check that out if you want. It'll be the first link in the description below. To summarize, augmented reality is a parallel altered reality facilitated by technology. In this reality, digital objects, menus, and other data can be added seamlessly into the user's field of view. This is different from virtual reality, where the user's entire reality is substituted for a digital one. To make sure we're clear, if you put on a virtual reality device, ideally your brain will think you're in an alternate reality, somewhere else. But on the other hand, if you put on an augmented reality headset, you can still see the world around you, but it's enhanced and overlaid with digital extras. So let's look at the HoloLens origins. Where did it actually come from? What many people don't realize is that the HoloLens has been in the works for 7 years. It was actually the brainchild of Microsoft employee Alex Kipman. He's been working on a pair of holographic goggles for 5 years, and before that, he was working on the Kinect, which was the grandfather of the HoloLens. So many of you have already seen Microsoft demo videos of people doing incredible things with the HoloLens, but as expected, early reports are suggesting that it's not all that you would imagine from the videos, but it is still very impressive. So, what can the HoloLens actually do? First off the bat, Microsoft still hasn't released all the specific details, but here's what we do know. Obvious applications for the HoloLens include content consumption and communication. These can be things such as floating videos or a more immersive Skype session, but this isn't all. The HoloLens headset can actually scan environments in real time and do things such as aid in the guidance of robots, or create on-the-fly semi-accurate wire meshes of objects that exist in real life. Digital objects can also interact with their real environment. For example, if you threw a ball at the floor, it would bounce around just like you would expect. All of this is possible thanks to multiple cameras stationed inside the headset. Apparently, HoloLens also handles sound incredibly well. This is done through the Unity engine, where developers can pin audio to specific objects. Then, as people wearing the HoloLens walk through a specific area, the sound changes based on your proximity to the objects, just like it would in the real world. And reports say it's good enough to trick your brain. The audio is actually delivered through 2 small speakers in the headset, not headphones. This is so you can still hear the real environment around you. Further to this, there's full Windows 10 integration. So when wearing a headset, you can drag items from a PC desktop and pull them off the screen into the air and still control them with your mouse. Voice inputs are also very well done.
Voice commands, those seemingly are infinite. So the developers can register commands. I made my app respond to Hello Toledo and I like pie.
Do you hold a button to activate?
No, it's all ambient. They were really adamant about that. You don't have to do an address command, like Alexa or Hey Siri or OK Google.
Wow.
You just talk to it and it picks it up.
Did it feel like it was something being processed in the headset, or it was over Wi-Fi?
I would be shocked if it wasn't in the headset.
Okay.
It was very
fast enough to be in the headset.
I mean, the response time was Hello Toledo, boom. Not Hello Toledo, tick, 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 boom.
Okay, so that's a bit about what HoloLens can do. How does it work? Well, as described earlier, a lot of what HoloLens is capable of is made possible by an array of cameras and sensors. These include more than 5 cameras, accelerometers, and gyroscopes to sense where your head is and how it's positioned at all times. In addition to the HoloLens mapping out your real-world environment, I would imagine combining these data inputs would create a pretty compelling experience. So that's pretty cool, but let's get a bit deeper into the guts. According to its creator, Alex Kipman, The sensors flood the device with terabytes of data every second. So that's a lot, right? So how is this actually going to be managed on a device? A lot of people out there will be like, well, it's going to be connected to a PC, obviously, to process all that. But no, as I've been saying in my videos, in the past few years, silicon technology in mobile devices has come up by orders of magnitude. So now, for the first time, it's possible to process all of this in a mobile form factor.
Now I feel very fortunate to be in this moment in time. All the different pieces are starting to fall into place. As we enter this decade, the amount of processing power you can get into a small form factor for a reasonable price point is just staggering. Even in the last few years, as we developed Hololens, the innovation in optics, sensors, and silicon has allowed us to move forward a few orders of magnitude.
So the HoloLens has a CPU, GPU, and the first of its kind in the world, an HPU. And this, fascinatingly enough, is a holographic processing unit. So here's an explanation of how it works with direct quotes from its creator. This is Kipman speaking. Realistic holograms work by tricking your brain into seeing light as matter. Ultimately, you perceive the world because of light. If I could magically turn on the debugger, we would see photons bouncing throughout the world. Eventually they hit the back of your eyes, and through that, you reason out what the world is. You essentially hallucinate the world. Or you see what your mind wants you to see. To create Project HoloLens images, light particles bounce around millions of times in a light engine within the device. These photons enter the goggles' two lenses, where they are ricocheted between layers of blue, green, and red glass before they reach the back of your eye. And when you get the light at the exact angle, that is where the magic comes in. So translating what Kipman said, unlike most screen technologies before it, it's not pixels, but actual photons that are being generated, making the digital elements extremely lifelike.
The resolution was really, really good.
Okay.
You were able to read text. One of the objects in the world was a crumpled up paper ball. It looked like newspaper. You could read the newspaper 2 layers down.
Wow.
The text was clear, even from, say, 5 feet from the virtual object.
So let's put this in perspective.
I was able to read it from the distance that I would normally read a piece of paper.
But you'd be able to recognize that there's text there.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
If I was holding it out here, I was able to read it. If I was holding it right here, I was able to read it.
Okay, so this so far sounds pretty amazing, and a great round of applause to Microsoft here and Alex Kipman. But we have to take the good with the bad. What are the limitations here? Okay, so according to reports, here are some of the limitations. Currently, you can only really control HoloLens with your gaze, and by hovering your finger in the air to tap on a cursor. It works fine, is extremely intuitive, and everyone could get it the first time, but HoloLens needs more sophisticated gestures that mimic real-life movements. The biggest limitation is the small viewing area. So really, all the holograms and the digital environments are only visible through a small square area. So if you get close to digital objects, you can't actually see the entirety of it. It cuts them off. This was one of the most common complaints among reviewers. And I personally think that Microsoft did this to reduce the tax on the HPU and lower the latency so people don't feel sick. But in future generations, as mobile silicon doubles again, I think we should get over these problems. Okay, so let's move on to the conclusions. CNET sums it up nicely. According to them, they state, even in its infancy, HoloLens gives me an augmented reality experience that I never knew I wanted, and now I want it again and again. I want to conduct all my future meetings through HoloLens. So, how should we think of HoloLens? In a way, much like the arrival of Oculus signaled the infancy of modern VR, HoloLens does what Google Glass tried to do, kickstart the infancy of modern AR. With a player as trusted and as well respected as Microsoft, the stage is set, and we can be sure to expect some exciting technology in the coming years. But moreover, I think Microsoft is truly back in action now. Anyway, I hope you did get something out of this, and if you do have a friend or someone who's wondering about the HoloLens and what it all means and just wants a breakdown in detail of what it actually can be like, please share this video. I'm sure they'll get something out of it. If you want to see more videos of stuff explained, or about companies, or about future technology, or about alternative technology news, please subscribe. Anyway, thanks for watching. This has been Dagogo. You've been watching Cold Fusion. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll catch you again soon for the next video. Cheers guys, have a good one.
Cold Fusion. It's new thinking.